Hello everyone, I'm the Holler Scholar, and today we're going to be talking about the poll for Kentucky's new senator replacing Mitch McConnell. Before we get started, please don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, tell me your thoughts in the comments. A few housekeeping things to get in order. I started out with YouTube as my primary platform and TikTok as a secondary. However, I've shifted over to using Facebook more often. It just fits better with my life and not maintaining a consistent YouTube video posting schedule. I can just stay active on Facebook easier. I will still be using YouTube and TikTok as a secondary place for all my videos, so please go subscribe and follow me there. I would greatly appreciate it. But back to the video now. About the poll. So I started this poll a few weeks ago. After my first one, I was pretty excited. I thought I would get a lot more participants at first, since it is a statewide race and not just a countywide race. I didn't really get a lot of feedback on it. So I reached out to all the candidates. None of them had a way for me to really message or contact them, so I just found whatever their most recent popular post was and commented on it to try to get their attention, get their voters and supporters' attentions to go to my poll. And I didn't really get a lot of results from that. But then a local news station, not local to me, but local to like Lexington, posted an article about the really just astronomical amount of people who said they were unsure of who they was voting for in comparison to the establishment candidates, Andy Barr, Daniel Cameron, and Nate Morris. So I commented my poll there and was like, if y'all would like another poll that has more candidates or an option to put more candidates, that would be great. And that got me a lot more feedback. There's still a few issues with the poll, primarily being just not getting enough people to actually do it, and then slight bias in the participants of the poll. But I do feel a lot better because if you look at the Emerson College poll, they only had 500 people do it, and that's the one most news networks are quoting. So let's just get into the guts of it. Before I tell you who's the front runner of my poll, let's talk about the issues. So on my poll, participants got to type out anything they wanted that was a issue or concern for them this election. And then I went through and manually read every one of them and put them into common categories, sorted out how many people stated this issue or that issue, and some people had multiple issues, some people just had one-word responses, some people wrote paragraphs. So starting off with this chart here, you'll notice that the number one issue concerning most voters in Kentucky is the economy, cost of living, and inflation. This lines up with most other polls I've seen. I think the Emerson College poll was 40% of participants were concerned about the state of the economy. Our next largest concern was corruption, with 28% of voters being concerned about corruption in their government, local, state, and federal. Our third largest category was immigration, which, if you're on the news or on social media, that's pretty much the number one issue right now is immigration, ICE, deporting legal immigrants and stopping more immigrants from coming in the country. So no surprise there. 20% said that government waste and spending was a deep concern of theirs. Any Kentucky voters paying attention to the news right now knows that there is an audit that has happened at the state level that shows a lot of money being spent on travel that doesn't seem to be justified, or might not be justified. I don't know. More details are coming out every day. Taxation was a concern for 17% of the participants. And then this category, I kind of threw everything together that wasn't I'm just going to say this might make a lot of people mad. Not real issues, in my opinion. Like taxes are a real issue, government spending's a real issue, immigration's a real issue, corruption, the cost of living's a real issue. This is a category of all things that are just left versus right politics that doesn't affect the daily lives of most people. And 15% of participants had one of those issues. Election integrity came in at 11%, so any issues with concerns with voting or fraud in voting, that was all under election integrity. And it tied with government overreach or just decreasing the size of government or current government operations being too large. I had about 20 other categories that they just all had small percentages ranging from 1 to 5%. And that would be stuff like education, justice system reform, disability rights, homeless care, career politicians and term limits, America First policies, which probably would have fit under the left versus right, but they were a little bit more specific, so not just arguing over stuff that doesn't affect most people. Agriculture and natural resources, healthcare. 5% of participants said they were concerned about the influence of Israel in the U.S. and 7% were concerned about individual liberty overall, and 9% were concerned with upholding the Constitution. So, a lot of diverse concerns here, but pretty much every poll you'll see, including this one, the biggest concern is the economy, cost of living, and inflation. It is getting really hard for people to make it out here. I mean, I feel really fortunate and blessed with my situation. I mean, I don't have the biggest, nicest home. I don't drive anywhere near the new cars. But I have a roof over my head. My family is fed. We have access to very affordable health care because of my job. And there's a lot of people in this country that aren't that fortunate right now. And that's what they're thinking about when they go to vote. So take note of that, candidates, or any future candidates. If you look at this chart here, you'll see the winner for my poll, you could say, was Michael Farris, with 73.6% of the vote, with Andy Barr and Daniel Cameron coming in at 8%, and Nate Morse coming in at 2%, none of the above with also 2%, and other mentions with someone said President Donald Trump should be the senator, and 1% said they would take Daniel or Mike. So I'll just give those to Daniel since he's behind Mike on this one. There's issues with these results, because a lot of people's going to say, well, why didn't Mike Farris get 73% in all the other polls? Well, one, he probably wasn't on them, and two, his voters are the only ones who really responded to me. So when I commented on that news article, it was a lot of Mike Farris people in that comment thread who probably seen my comment, went and done this poll. Obviously, they're going to pick the candidate they're already arguing in the news, the Facebook page comments over. But I reached out to all the candidates, and I can't help it if them nor their voters respond to me. I commented on their pages, on their public posts. I think I commented on Daniel Cameron and Andy Barr's twice, maybe. I can't remember. I comment so much through the day. And I just can't help who, decides to respond and doesn't respond. However, I did decide to do a little theoretical math. That's probably wrong, honestly. I'm not a math major, I'm a history major. But on the first one, on this chart here, I took and figured up currently where Andy Barr, Daniel Cameron, and Nate Morris were, and where unsure voters were at, and where voters who said they wanted someone other than those three were at, and kind of added the percentages from those polls to mine, and that got me, again, it's not super accurate math at all, it's just kind of fun, theoretical, see where we're at. It got Andy Barr at 23%, Daniel Cameron at 23%, they were both tied in my poll. Nate Morris got a little bump to 12%, and Michael Farris got cut down to 22%, putting him more in line with the two front runners of most of the other polls, which is Daniel Cameron and Andy Barr. And still leaving a large chunk of unsure that could go anyway during this election, because this election is going to go anyway. We don't know how the results are going to be. The majority of voters are going to walk into the booth or to the machine with their form and make a last minute decision. They're going to go, I seen someone share Michael Farris, I'm going to vote him. Or I remember Daniel Cameron running against Andy Beshear, I'm going to vote for him. I think Andy Barr is already a congressman, so he's got experience, I'm going to vote for him. Nate Morris keeps talking about Elon Musk and Donald Trump, I'm going to vote for him. So, and there's 8 more candidates that I didn't include in my poll originally because they just didn't have financial information. I don't know if they're still running the race. I've not seen any ads for them, so I could only assume they weren't in the race. But I've seen consistent ads and financial information for these 4 candidates, which is why I included them originally. If you look at this second chart I did, I took the Quantus Insights poll and just plugged my information straight in with it and its numbers, and got Andy Barr at 25%, Daniel Cameron at 26%, Michael Farris at 16%, and Nate Morris at 16%, with unsure still at 17%. Between the two theoretical ones, this one's probably slightly more accurate, and that's probably way more accurate than mine because, let's be honest, Michael Farris's fans swarmed my poll, put his name down, but I mean, that shows he's got a lot of fans, and that's looking good for him in the race. And I averaged about a fifth of participants compared to these larger, more professional polls. I mean, I'm a small Facebook page and YouTube channel, it's not surprising there. That's where we're at, you know, it's still anybody's race. And I think that mainstream news networks aren't doing Michael Farris any favors because he's not part of the big money club. I think Nate Morris has the most money out of all the candidates, or most money spent. Most of the polls listed have been paid for by Nate Morris. The 2 I used were independent polls by Emerson College and Quantus Insights, but there's a lot paid for by Nate Morris, which he's losing in all of them, which is kind of funny. Andy Barr has the experience, and he has been getting around. He, come to my hometown a few weeks ago. And Daniel Cameron has been the front runner for most of the race, so that's starting to change. Everyone else is catching up with him. So I don't know who will be replacing Mitch McConnell. Fun little side note, in concerns for this election, one person was concerned that Mitch McConnell was no longer going to be our senator, which is also kind of funny because I've never met someone who liked Mitch McConnell my entire life. I've lived in Kentucky for 30 years. So you always find one. And that's all I got for y'all. Thanks for watching. Thanks for giving me your time. Please don't forget to go like and share the video. Follow my page. Tell me your thoughts in the comments. I'm the Holler Scholar. God bless. Stay vigilant.